Hey guys, well, it's time to take a look at what took place in Week 5. This is the weekend wrap-up. Tom Markowski, I'm Lauren Plant, and we always try to pick about 3 games that were of particular interest from across the state, and a couple local ones, and we've got one that's not so local, but obviously the big game on Friday night, out on the red carpet, Warren De La Salle, Orchard Lake St. Mary's. We expected a real defensive battle like we had a year ago that went down to the final moment. Did not turn out that way.
Well, it was a defensive game for one team. De La Salle obviously showed up, shutting down St. Mary's running game. You know, it's hard to say what happens in games like that. It's mid-season, and it was St. Mary's homecoming. You could you kind of excuses, but what it's worth, that does play a part. You know, just on the west side of the state, East Kentwood getting beat at home by Jenison by 3 touchdowns. Jenison's a very ordinary team. I had Kentwood in my top 10. So you just never know what's going to happen on Friday night. And coaches tell me, stay away from homecomings. We don't like them.
Well, and the interesting thing is, this was a De La Salle team with Alan Stritzinger on the sideline.
Yeah, that should have made it even more towards St. Mary's favor.
Correct. True Wilson steps up, did a really nice job as carrying the ball there. And of course, the quarterback, Josh Wilk, did a bulk of carrying the rock. I think he went for 129 yards. He really stepped up his game.
You know, they have athletes from last year's team. We all saw De La Salle. I saw them play, I don't know, 7, 8 times last year, regular season and playoffs. And they had a lot of those kids coming back, so it's not a big surprise that they're that good this year. We thought this was going to be a heavyweight match where St. Mary's was going to, give their best effort, which I don't think they did. And De La Salle might have played their best game overall. I saw them play earlier in the season against King, and their offense was, hit and miss. Their defense has always been hitting.
Yeah. But
offense obviously was in the mode this year. It would be interesting. I guess the Stritzinger injury is not a serious one. It's an ankle injury, so he should be back later in the season.
All right, 31-8 was the final in that one. And again, Orchard Lake coming off a big win over Mishawaka Penn. And,
right.
We'll see what happens the rest of the way. Catholic is still wide open. Almont versus Richmond, and you got to feel for Richmond in this one, right? Coach Coker is dealing with cancer, and they really wanted this game. We were out there filming the game, of course. Great game against Almont, goes to double overtime. They score, kind of a jump ball in the end zone.
Right.
They're about to send it to a triple overtime, and unfortunately
they pull a Texas and miss the extra point. But that's in high school. The extra points are not a sure thing at all. Watching that King game on Saturday, they're lining up for that winning field goal, and it's like, so what? It's 18 yards. They still got to get the snap, get the hold, and everything's got to be perfect. So you hope the kid that missed that extra point isn't feeling too bad about himself. And same thing with Orchard Lake game. It's the 5th week of the season. Granted, it was a close game, and in this one it was a close game, not Orchard Lake. But it's a close game, and hopefully they can gather themselves and have a good finish to the end. But Almont's been pretty good.
I was about to say, they're building something there.
Yeah, they kind of been flying under the radar. I remember one year they got to the semifinals and got this close to getting to Ford Field. So, this is kind of a program that maybe people just, scoff at. But, no, they're pretty good.
This is 2 years in a row now.
Signature win, especially at Richmond.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, we'll wind up with, of course, the big game, number 2 versus number 3 in the state, King versus Cass on Saturday. You were at that particular game, a whale of a game, definitely lived up to the expectations. And then King goes ahead and wins in the most unlikely of fashion. We're talking about kicking, right?
Right.
This senior from Bangladesh, Anwar Mia, right? Even though, granted, it was kind of a chip shot, you still got to knock it down, and he sure did.
It was, I know it was only 18 yards, but it was a really good kick. It split the uprights, and give credit, Coach Dale Harvell. That ball's this far away from the goal line,
right?
And you'd say, well, heck, of course you're going to go for the touchdown. You're running it, and
they were stuffed, 3 previous times before that.
Yes, and I think that might have played a part in Harvell's head. He didn't say that after the game, but he was committed to that kicker. He says he'd been doing well all game, and so he looked somewhat like a genius, because in the PSL, let's lay it on the line. In the PSL, the special teams, specifically the kicking game, has been knocked year in and year out. And for them, King, to say, yeah, we're going to decide this big matchup with Cass Tech by kicking the ball, that was like totally unreal. But hey, give credit Dale Harvell. And I'll tell you, that's the best I've seen King. I've seen them now 3 times. That's the best I've seen them look offensively. they're starting to figure things out.
Yeah, Martel Pettaway's just a horse.
Yes.
You know, back there running the ball.
But Posey at quarterback is doing a good job. He wasn't outstanding, but he managed the team well enough, and he did complete 9 passes, which they hadn't been doing a whole bunch of that earlier in the season. And you're getting Donnie Corley back in really into the flow of things. You know, Lavert Hill was kind of a no-show that game, but I don't think it's Lavert Hill's fault. It's just the way the offense is going.
Yeah, it is the greatest rivalry in the city. There's no question
about
it.
It's not even close. You know, I was at the CC Brother Rice game, and a lot of people called that the best rivalry in the state. Well, maybe it is. You know, in this part of the woods, maybe it is. Yeah. But I'll tell you, for the people in the city, Brother Rice CC it doesn't even compare to what Cass and King is like, because there is a lot, if I may use the word hatred, between the two schools.
Say animosity.
Animosity is a much kinder term, but there's some hatred there.
There's no doubt about it, and it goes generations deep. I mean, both schools have been playing since forever.
Yes.
And they were even showing highlights of King Cass on the Lions broadcast.
Yeah, because the Sunday night crew was out, and they do that every week.
Yeah.
And there was something really neat, and they showed the city really well, and they picked a good game. Right?
Yeah.
And we might see that, unless East English upsets Cass this week, you're going to see Cass and King play at Ford Field the 9th week.
And that will be awesome, no doubt about it. That is the wrap-up. We'll see you for the preview in just a couple days.